with the funny questions for the guys?
Yeah.
You remember some of the questions? Do you remember what one of the questions was?
It wasn't here.
Skinny jeans, toenails, stuff like that. Okay, so we're going to start off with a couple of questions for the lady panel. So here we go. The first one. Should girls shave their legs and underarms?
Yes.
Only on days that end in Y.
Very smart.
Yes.
They only do one.
Yes.
Whoa.
My answer might be a little more controversial. If it's in the wintertime and you're not planning on wearing anything other than pants, you can kind of skip out on the legs.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to see them. Winter cut, it's warmer that way.
Do you have something to add to that?
You don't have to shave after you get married.
Preach. They love you just the same.
They have to.
They have to, yeah. That's good, Ashley. Good point. Okay. This is from Josh. He wanted to know this question. Why do girls go to the bathroom together? Why do you always have to go together?
If you fall in, you need your girlfriend to help pull you out. I do it just because I don't like being by myself. And if somebody tries to abduct me while I'm in the bathroom, I need another person to fight for me. I can always count on Rachel for a booger check.
Sometimes, yeah.
Oh. And also, our deepest conversations happen in the bathroom.
Yes.
It's just, you know, you're having, you and your best girlfriend are just, that's when you have your heart to heart, man. That's where they happen. Also, I almost choked on my gum. Okay. Also, like if you're at an awkward dinner or something, you might be like, hey, go to the bathroom with me. And then you go to the bathroom and you're like, oh my gosh, what is going on out there? Anyways, that's what I do. I just kind of like let all the tension out, so.
All the tension. Ashton.
Well, I noticed that no one's ever asked me to go to the bathroom.
Oh.
I'll ask you. We can all go after together.
Party in the ladies' room, no boys allowed.
Okay. Okay, this one, what's with taking the same pictures over and over again? In this pose, look at Drew. Drew's going to show you. What does that even mean?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, why do you do that? Why do you think?
Y'all know the new one?
My sisters informed me that it was because it meant stay fierce.
This is the new one.
And I told them, I was like, well, I don't need a reminder or to remind anybody. I am already fierce, so I don't have to throw my hands up like this. So yeah.
I think you just do it to get the best.
What about a selfie?
To get the best
Way to
angle
go.
of your face, and you have to do the fish. You know, when it looks better like this.
Oh, that's a duck face, Ashton. I didn't know that.
I believe that originated from sorority girls. That and all
That.
that's where it came from. If you're wondering,
Got it.
chicken came before the egg.
There you go. Okay, on a serious note, what is one thing a guy needs to know about a girl?
We're crazy.
From the panel. From the panel.
I think they already know that also.
Girls are more emotional than guys. We're more sensitive.
That's so true.
I'm like almost the worst about this, but I'm trying so hard not to. But we tend to read into things way more than like we overanalyze every single thing. Like if our guy's being too quiet, we're like, oh, is he upset with me? And he's probably just thinking about like pizza or the game that just got off, you know, an hour ago and his team lost or something. And we're thinking, oh my gosh, he's mad at me. What did I do? Yeah, anyway.
I think one is as nice and sweet as the girl seems. Like she really just wants whatever you want. She really has an opinion, and maybe sometimes she gets mad, even though we don't want to show that. She/we.
Yes. On that note, when the guys ask, "Where do you want to go eat?" and the girl says, "I don't care," she cares. I don't know. What do you want? She wants to pick. I promise. Even though she says she doesn't, she wants to pick. I promise. Every time. It's hard to choose, but the girl does want the final answer.
Next question. is it okay for the girl to ask the guy out?
Yes.
Panel.
I personally never would, but that's just me.
A girl should not chase a boy.
That's just, ladies, the guy should be pursuing you. You should not be pursuing him.
I agree with that, but it is okay to let them know you're interested. Just, otherwise, boys, I love you, but sometimes you're just a little oblivious. And you don't take a hint. Sometimes, but yes, the guy should do all the pursuing. Absolutely. Girls, just don't.
Toss it. Okay. Next question.
What is your thoughts on kissing on the first date? No crowd. Whatever Josh says, precipitation.
I kind of think you might be sending the wrong message. And I'm not trying to judge anybody or anything. I just feel like they're going to think, oh, she'll kiss me tonight. Well, whatever else I can get too. So I'm not saying guys are like that, but I think that they think that you're like, what's a good word for it? Easy?
Yeah.
Oh, good one.
Being real. Okay.
Yeah, we're being real.
Leave something to pursue, to be pursued.
Yeah. Good job. Okay, last
Pursued.
pursuit. Yes.
Stop.
Is it okay to date a guy as a project to try to change him?
Flirting and converting never works. I'm just going to let you know. Flirting and converting doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. And you can't change him. Be like, oh, well, I mean, he's going out with me, so he's going to change, and he just needs somebody in his life. Honey, he needs the Lord in his life, not you.
Oh, get it, nigger.
You can't do it. You can't save anybody. You can lead somebody to salvation, but you can't save anybody. And I believe that, personally, you should both be saved before you get into a relationship. Unless you're not saved, then you go, whatever. But if you're saved, don't go trying to save somebody else and be like, well, once he's saved, then everything will be perfect and we'll get married.
Bring them, I would say, if you have this in your mind, if you really want to bring this person to church, you do have interest in them, bring them as your friend. That's totally cool. Bring them as your friend. They'll probably make more friends. They'll get to know your friends. They might make a decision. Bring them to youth. That's totally cool if things happen later down the road. But in the Bible, it says you're not supposed to be unequally yoked. Don't date unbelievers. That's just, I've done it. Doesn't work. If you don't believe the same thing that the person you're trying to date, eventually marry, you're going to have a lot of problems later on down the road. How to raise your kids, do you want to get married in church? You don't want to get married in church? You're going to have a lot of problems later on down the road, and you're going to realize that you made a bad decision. So, bring them to church first, as your friend.
Anybody else have anything on that?
It's in my head, but it's not coming out.
Not coming out. Okay. Well, that's all the questions that we have for tonight, and we're going to get into the Word, and each of us, just like last week, are going to speak on one word out of the key verse, and I think they're going to pop up the key verse. It's Titus 2:3-5. You can look on your note sheets. Everybody have a note sheet. You can get it out. Similarly, I cannot say that word. Similar. Okay, yeah. Teach the older women to live in a way that honors God. They must not slander others or be heavy drinkers. Instead, they should teach others what is good. These older women must train the younger women to love their husbands and their children, to live wisely and be pure, to work in their homes, to do good, and to be submissive to their husbands. Then they will not bring shame on the word of God. Titus 2:3-5. And we're going to have 5 key principles, and the first one Nikki will be talking about.
Yeah. Okay. So, I know this isn't actually on the note, but I thought it was a good verse that kind of ties into what I'm going to be saying. And it's Psalm 7:1. If you want to write that down, you can. Just Psalm Psalm 7:1. Okay, anyways. And it says, I come to you for protection, O Lord my God. Save me from persecutors and rescue me. And so, yeah. Sorry. When you're committed to God, He supplies all of your needs, and therefore you don't need to worry about anything or anybody. And that comes with seeking God first, and that's the first blank. And the second blank is, in order to keep things real with God, you must be real with yourself. And that's like, you can't, I can't even get into that. But the verse that's on here is Matthew 6, verses 33 and 34. Seek the kingdom of God above all else and live righteously, and He will give you everything you need. So don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will bring its own worries. Today's trouble is enough for today. And also, that's in the NLT version, I believe. But the Message version has some really good wording, in my opinion. It says, steep your life in God reality, God initiative, and God provisions. Don't worry about missing out. You'll find all your everyday human concerns will be met. Give your entire attention to what God is doing right now, and don't get worked up about what may or may not happen tomorrow. God will help you deal with whatever hard things come up when the time comes. So, okay. And so you do that by knowing that with God, all things are possible, but without Him, you can't have anything. You have nothing. And people will try to tell you, people say it anyways, that He doesn't supply your needs. But what He really does is just, He doesn't give you everything you want. And that's really just for the beneficial, for your benefit. And He, like for years, I prayed that God would heal me from all of my issues that are going on inside of my body, but He hasn't healed me in the way that I want Him to. He's healed me in other ways, and though I still struggle with it every single day, I'm still thankful for what He has given me. And through those hard times, I know I was never alone, and I could literally feel like an embrace around me, even when I was laying in a hospital bed crying, and my parents were asleep. I was broken, and it was really hard. And you have to just literally, like it said, seek God first in everything. And it may seem like God's not doing anything, but really, there's just a gap in your life that needs to be filled. And the only person that can fill that is God, and He wants you to seek Him in order to have that filled. And people, it's really hard, especially at all of our age, but the young adult group, people will tell you all sorts of things, and it'll make you feel afraid because, you're looking out and you're trying to seek God, and they're like, well, obviously He's not doing anything for you. Why don't you try other things? No matter, whatever you might be given into to try and satisfy your needs. You're never truly satisfied, or else, you wouldn't be in that depressed state, or you wouldn't be in that low point. And, people all the time are going to talk about you. Good, bad, ugly. You just have to look past it and seek God first. In everything good, and everything bad, in all situations. Like I said, people are just mean. That's literally the devil in this world coming out in everybody. I'm mean. Because that's my sisters. I'm awful sometimes. But, I mean, people, they'll, everybody can attest to it. They'll just use you, like, just to get what they want, and then they'll be like, oh, okay, well, I think I'm going this direction. See you later. You know, they'll just leave you. And that's why you need to seek God first, because He will never leave you in any of those situations. And I guess I need to wrap this up, but yeah, I can't even get enough of that. And I feel like it was funny whenever I was assigned this one. I was just like, wow, there's so much I could do. Probably a whole Wednesday night just by myself on this. Obviously more in depth and not scattered around like I am. But yeah. Anyways, I also want to say that if anybody does need to talk, because I mean, I know all of us are here, all of the leaders, people in the back, people that are sitting with you, all of us up here. We'll be glad to, lead you in prayer, get you to seek God first. And that's all you can do. That's the key to life, really. It'll get you through any bad day.
That was incredible, and I even learned something out of that. My goodness, that was awesome. Any of y'all have anything to say on that? Anything else to add? Okay, so the second one is, I'm going to be doing, it's called Speak Faithfully. So that's one of your fill in the blanks, Speak Faithfully. My verse is Ephesians 4:29. Don't use foul or abusive language. Let everything you say be good and helpful, so that your words will be an encouragement to those who hear them. Okay, so us girls, I'm going to talk to you for a minute. This is just so difficult. Why do you girls and me and all of us ladies, why do we feel so good about ourselves when we talk bad about another girl?
Because we're trying to make ourselves feel better about down in them.
Right, and that makes no sense at all, really. When you think about that, that just completely makes no sense. Gossip is deadly, but we as females feed off of it. If we hear someone talking about somebody, it's like, oh, okay, I've got to get over there and listen. What's new with this person? What's new with this person? And that has to stop. Gossip is deadly. There's nothing else to say about it. It will kill you. It is awful. And tonight I want to break the norm. So that's the next fill in the blank. Let's break the norm. Different ways you can do this is, say you're at school and these two girls get in a fight, okay? And instead of going over there and, sticking up for her and just saying all these words and stuff, you should just leave the girl that is getting hurt, the one that's been bullied, take her and just pray with her, encourage her, lift her up. Don't start gossiping about what just happened. Lift her up and just hang out with her, and then God will work all the rest of the stuff out. And we just need to be there for one another, because it's hard being a girl, very hard being a girl. And when you hear gossip, you just need to leave. You don't need to be a part of it, because like I said, it's very deadly. And another way that if a friend comes to you in confidence and is about to tell you a secret, and you already know that you can't keep that secret inside of you, say stop. I will probably tell that to someone else, so don't even tell me, because I will gossip about that. So that will help in the long run. And just like I said earlier, whenever you're around in a group and you hear someone starting to talk about somebody that's not there, just get out of it. It will be a lot easier, and you won't be the one feeling guilty in the end. And then, so anybody else have anything on that? Gossip, anything?
I do. I think that what you're saying, like that way of, when people get into arguments and the gossip, like, I think we as girls could seriously just change the face of our school campuses. We could change our churches. Like, if we did what Brittany said, there wouldn't be half the drama that happens. I know it started in the first place, but think about what kind of place you'd be walking into every day. Definitely not the stuff you walk into now. because I see it every day, of course, with my job. I think that would be so awesome if we would do that.
I just want to say that that first part of that verse, don't use foul or abusive language. When you in your mind picture when I say godly woman, when you think of that person, does that person use foul, mean, ugly language?
No.
Yes or no?
No. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Well, usually not. And I know that the godly women in my life constantly, they know when I'm going through something, and they'll send me text messages, constant just encouragement after encouragement. And that's one of the things, we're talking about queens tonight, and how to be that godly woman, godly young lady. And I think that, that encouragement is a good thing to get into the habit of doing. And once you get in the habit of encouraging the other people around you, you're going to be rewarded with yourself. You don't have to put somebody else down to feel better about yourself. Encouragement will do that for you.
Hey, yeah, just like Rachel was just saying, the encouragement thing, as soon as you think of a bad thought about someone, like, look at her shirt or something like that, look at something else that you think is pretty and say that instead. Like, tell them, I love your hair today or something like that. Just be positive, and because there's so much negative in the world already. So us girls should just stand up and break the norm tonight. We're going to make commitments at the end of tonight's service, and I just challenge each of you, even the guys, because, guys have trouble with that too, but us ladies, gossip is just, it's huge, and we just need to break the norm of that tonight. And the next one is Ashton.
Hey guys, okay, so I'm talking about true beauty, and I almost forgot because someone handed me the April 2nd handout sheet. So I had the wrong blanks, but that's okay, I know them. So I'm talking about true beauty. I got it though, thank you. And I want to read from 1 Timothy 2:9, and I'm just going to read my version just because I'm more familiar with it. It says, likewise, also that women should adorn themselves in respectable apparel, with modesty and self-control, not with braided hair, in gold or pearls or costly attire. But with what is proper for women who profess godliness with good words. So, when we hear that, we're like, that's really extreme. We can't even braid our hair. That's ridiculous. And we would be missing the point of the verse if we really kind of took that part into consideration. What this is really talking about is that we, and I'm speaking to women, and kids, you can listen to, but we don't need to be so concerned about getting attention with the way we look, like being so consumed with our appearance and trying to get people to notice us for that. The blank there, it says, show true beauty. True beauty is our hearts radiating with love for God, not gaining attention from others for our bodies. So I want to kind of flash back to me in middle school and high school. Okay, so guys, I had a really kind of tough time in middle school and high school because I was what you would call a late bloomer. So while everyone else was walking around like in their fashionable, attractive clothes, all the girls, I was walking around, I looked like a 5th grader still, and even though I was 16 years old, and so I felt super awkward. I was really jealous of everybody because I was like, man, I really want to look like them. I want to get that attention. I want those guys to think I'm attractive. And, when I look back at that time, I'm really glad, because what if I had been wearing the same clothes they were wearing? And I'm talking about, super tight stuff that shows off bodies. And we as girls, we all know what that's about. We're here in 2014, we totally know. But when I look back, I'm really glad that I wasn't in that God kind of almost protected me, even though I was like miserable and jealous of everyone. I would have been getting the attention for totally wrong reasons. And so, let me kind of get myself together here. All right. So, really what I want to tell true, is that true beauty is not about your appearance. I know you're like, oh, that's such the hallmark answer, Ashton. That's not what we believe. And right now, in the schools and stuff you're at, yeah, appearance is super important, and it can be all-consuming to us as girls. That's all we think about. Like, when I'm sitting in the back of, like, a big auditorium, a lot of times I'm just thinking about people's hair, going, that's a cool haircut. Maybe I should get that haircut. You know, and if you're a girl, you've thought the same thing. And we worry so much about it. But truly, do we want to be getting the attention for our appearance, for our bodies? Or do we want to be known for something else? And in this verses that are right back here, they're telling us that women, godly women, want to get attention for who they are on the inside, their love for God. So if we love God and we want to walk with Him, we want to be godly, people are going to notice that. People are going to want to be around us because we're not going to be gossiping and doing the things that Brittany's talking about, using foul language. We're going to be lifting other people up. People are going to see that, and they're going to see that as beautiful. So tonight I just kind of want you as a girl to make a choice. You know, do you want to be known for, you know, your physical beauty? And you can be beautiful, but what if you're that beautiful girl that the second you open your mouth, they go, oh, I don't want to hang out with her. Because all that she does is cause drama or gossip or cuss people out, and that's not what people want to be around. Or you can choose to be a godly woman of true beauty, and that means, yeah, you can still fix your hair. I'm not saying to skip those showers, but you want to make your main focus who you are on the inside and shine through. So, and then one last thing, I'm not going to keep going on for days, but this verse talks about modesty a little bit, and I was kind of referring back to my high school days, and everyone was wearing super tight clothes. And just think about it, girls, you know, whoever you are trying to get to notice you. I don't know if it's a guy, if it's friends, if you just want to look good for yourself. But at the end of the day, with what you're wearing, if you look trashy on accident, I don't know, what kind of person do you think is going to notice you? You can answer that. No one? Okay. Trashy, yeah, I mean, and trashy people don't typically make good boyfriends. They don't make good husbands. And they definitely don't make good dads. So just think about it. I mean, who do I really want to notice me? And the person who's going to notice me for my true beauty, my true woman of God beauty, that's probably someone you'd rather hang around with than someone who's just like, yeah, you're hot. That's it. So.
I heard this a while back, and I was like, that's so true. It's just kind of add on. But what you are, who you are, you know, what you look like, that's what you will attract. So just think about that. Like next time you're going out, even guys, I mean, if you're wearing something weird looking, I mean, and if another girl comes up to you, for real, another girl comes up to you and you're like, why is she talking to me? Did you pay attention to what she was wearing? You know, how were you acting? You know, it's how you act, what you wear. That's what type of person you're going to attract as well. So dress and be what you want to attract.
I kind of want to tag on to something Ashton said about modesty. A lot of people have heard just kind of the little phrase, modest is hottest. A lot of girls think, a lot of girls think that what's hot is showing your body off. It's not necessarily true. You may have a beautiful figure, but save it for yourself and save it for your future husband. It's not something that you want everybody to see. And we were talking about this just kind of in general conversation. It's probably something that you haven't thought of because it hadn't occurred to me either. When you're dressing and you're all scantily clad and whatever, and you're thinking that you look so hot on your way to school and your clothes are skin tight, the person that you're dressing that way for may or may not notice you, but how many people do you come in contact with in a day's time, and every single one of them are looking at you and noticing you? Whether it is a 15-year-old guy, a 40-year-old man, or a 65-year-old man. Do you want somebody your grandpa's age looking at you and not having anything to wonder about what's under your shirt? Pay attention to what you're projecting and what you are showing off to the public and the people around you. I'm serious.
Yeah, on that too, because I have a husband. You have a husband. You have a husband. It's difficult.
Rachel has a puppy.
Yeah, a boyfriend. I'm just saying that it's difficult for us to go out somewhere and, I mean, once you're married, you will really, really, really understand this, that, I mean, the way that you dress, just like Ashley was saying, I mean, it affects a lot of people, more than you think, because guys have a problem with lust, and
It's a natural desire.
just like that. And
Girls have it too.
Yeah.
yes, they did. But on the modesty thing real fast, I know it's hard to find clothes that aren't modest, because I just went into Route 21 the other day with Josh. He got some jeans, and I'm looking over at the girls section, I was like, okay, there's nothing to wear over here. So I go to the guys section, get a guy shirt, because there's nothing out there right now that, you know, they don't want to cover up. You know, it's all the back showing, all the front showing, no shorts at all.
Yeah.
And so I know it's hard, but there is clothes out there. Walmart's awesome.
The image that the world wants you to portray is not a
There
godly.
is nothing wrong with that.
Walmart's awesome. And so is Target. Anyways, the next speaker is Rachel.
Hey, that's me. Okay, so Josh, when we were talking about doing the girls panel and everything, and we were talking about everything we were talking about, Josh assigned me to do humility, and I think that at first I was really confused, and then I was like, you know, there's a reason for this, and so your first blank there is stay humble. And humility is one of those things that for some people it's not necessarily the hardest thing that they have to struggle with, but for some people it is. I know in my life, honestly, pride has been a big struggle of mine. I never really had an issue with the way I looked. I never really had an issue with my talents. I always knew that I was a talented person. I've never really felt like I never really felt like I needed to be humble, I guess, until I realized that that was what the Lord was telling me, was calling me to do, and calls all of us to do. And humility is something that it's kind of hard to explain. It's not an easy concept to grasp. In my mind, when I think of humility, I think of somebody who is completely and utterly surrendered to God. For me, just as an example, if you have been going to South Point for any length of time, you know that I sing. I have been singing since I was a little kid. I've been taking voice lessons since I was young, and I've worked really hard to get where I am. For a really long time, I was very, very prideful, and I'll admit that. I have no problem admitting that. I always wanted to be the best. I did every talent competition in school that I could do. I tried to get every opportunity to sing in front of people that I could get, just because I wanted to show myself off. And I'm not gonna lie, I did. Until when I got a little older, I got the opportunity to start singing in church, and I had a few mentors that really just started to tell me what worship is and what worship means. And as I got older, I started to realize that it's not about me anymore. I've got to stop making it about me. And that's humility. You've got things that you know that you're good at, you're confident. It's totally okay to be confident in yourself. It's totally okay. But there's a big difference between vanity, pride, and confidence. There's a line. There's a big difference. There's something you're good at, Phoebe. You're a good dancer. It's totally okay to be confident in that. But once it starts getting to a point where, hey, look at me, that's where your humility is gone. I had this, the verse that goes along with this is, do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. And that's Philippians 2:3. And the blank under stay humble is don't think less of yourself, but think of yourself less. And I'm just going to be real with you guys for a second. And when I was 16 years old, I started struggling a lot with depression. And I'm okay with admitting that. It's part of my testimony now. I had a really low point in my life. I was starting to really think less of myself. I was going in between friends. I was having a hard time in high school, you know. But the one thing that kept me from, you know, just completely just was seeking God. And that's, you know, part of, all of this kind of ties in together. And all these points are here for a reason. They may all speak to you. One of them might just speak to you, you know, and that's okay. But when you start thinking don't think less of yourself, but think of yourself less, you're going to start realizing that you're doing what God is calling you to do. You're going to be serving others, and that's a huge thing that God has called all of us to do, is to serve others. I get on that stage every Sunday, not for myself, or every Sunday that I do sing. It's to help lead worship for you guys, to help lead you to the throne of God. And through learning all of that and learning to humble myself in that situation, and that has helped me to humble myself in every situation. I'm not going to say that I'm perfect by any means. There's still times where I struggle with it, and I'm always going to. I know I will. But there's one more thing I wanted to say. And it was a quote that I found by Pope Francis, and, you know, I mean, we're not Catholic, we don't always, you know, but I think sometimes the Pope has some good ideas. He said, an example I often use to illustrate the reality of vanity is this. Look at the peacock. It's beautiful if you look at it from the front, but if you look at it from behind, you discover the truth. Whoever gives in to such self-absorbed vanity has huge misery hiding inside of them. If you give in to that pride, to that vanity, you got some bad things coming ahead. Things are going to get hard. Things are going to get really hard for you. It might make you feel good to feel prideful in yourself for a little bit, but in the end, the only thing that's gonna make it please God, it's gonna make your life please God, is to humble yourself.
That's awesome. Do you guys have anything to add to that? I thought it was awesome. Next is Ashley.
All right, guys. My point is to encourage you guys to set the example. At your age, you are very influential. You're influenced by your friends and your peers, but maybe you don't realize that you could be the one doing the influencing. So I just want to encourage you to set the example of what a godly woman should look like. Proverbs 3:31 says, "Don't be jealous of cruel people or follow their example." I know that in school you have a lot of drama. There's all kinds of things. The he said, she said, guys, girls, all kinds of drama. And I want to kind of get you to think about that, where it comes into play with peer pressure, and the fine line between showing God's love or showing the complete opposite. Kind of going back to what Brittany said about if you see somebody being bullied, the way that you react to that could totally change the way that they look at the day or every day going forward. And so it kind of makes me think of the song, I don't know if you know it, but it's by Jamie Grace, and it's called God Girl. But set the example of how a God girl should carry herself. You know, not letting foul or abusive language come out of your mouth, being humble, showing a spirit of love and humility towards everybody that you come in contact with. Look at the picture of what a true godly woman is, and strive to be that. Strive to paint that picture of Christ's love every day with everybody you meet. It's not always easy. You're going to mess up. It's human nature. We wouldn't need a Savior if we didn't sin. But strive for that and try to be that God girl. Oh, I skipped my blank. I know I didn't. God girl.
There it is.
I was going to say one about being an example. When you have people to look at as an example, it's easier to be an example for other people. Choose your friends wisely, absolutely. Find people in your life that you know are going to be a good godly influence on you. And hopefully that's what we're here for. And we love you guys very much. And we try to do that for you. We try to be here for you for anything that you guys need. So yeah, that's just all I kind of wanted to say about that.
Yeah, and it might seem awkward because we are older than you, but and I know I thought this of my mom, no, you were never in my shoes, ever. You never went through the same things I did. But we really have, and we are here for y'all. And at the end, it's about to be time for someone to come up. But we're here for you, and, I mean, for anything at all. And we, like Rachel said, we love you from the bottom of our hearts, and we'll try to do anything and everything